You got to believe Kevin Harvick sitting back in Michigan right now liking Bliss getting around that 20 car Joey Logano.
That was a nice move.
Carl Edwards in the mix as well. Right behind is Scott Wimmer. Brendan Gaughan has moved up to 5th, and you can see what's jamming up behind him. Look at Michael Annett diving down the low side. We got 3 wide. That's Menard in the middle. Look out. They're going around. Whoa. Oh, man. Michael Annett gets swept up.
Got the left rear pretty good.
3 really good cars. Guys, cautions breed cautions, and intensity level sky high right now with this weather coming in.
Bringing it back to you, hard right side damage.
Laps running down.
Annett was 11th at the time of this mess. Paul Menard had a great night going as well. And the 38 was involved earlier with his teammate. And if you remember then, he said, I'm not going to give in. And if he wasn't going to give in early, he sure as heck didn't give in now.
This is the 15 car of Annette's is a mess.
Tough break for Annett. That team has done a marvelous job. Let's take another look.
Yeah, it looked like Jason Leffler kind of cut across the nose of Paul Menard, and that just triggers the whole thing.
Everybody else manages to stay low. Here's another view.
It's like the 98 just actually got loose. You see that?
Yeah, it could have been a little bit of that too. Kind of the first look, it looked like maybe Leffler turned down, but looking at that angle, it's like Paul may have had to make a correction and got up in the left rear. Man, hard lick for Leffler.
Well, entering today, Leffler had 4 DNFs. It looks like this one might be number 5 because that thing is hurt. And he's climbing out.
Say Braun Racing's really had a tough night with a lot of their cars getting in wrecks, and I'll tell you what, I know how that feels. That feels horrible. I've had my cars wiped out, every one of my own, and that's a sick feeling as an owner. And Todd Braun's probably thinking the same thing right now.
Well, how about Michael Annett? He had top 15 finishes in his last 4 races. That's the best streak he had going in his career. And that's going to come down.
Yeah, we definitely need to give him a shout out. Michael Annett drove a great race tonight, and he's been doing that week after week in Germain's car. Good, solid car.
We heard somebody say take it to the garage, and I'm wondering if that is Paul Menard's crew. If we're checking to see whose radio it was. Menard, of course, 3rd last week. His best finish of 2010, and it looks like now, yes, it was his radio, and they're saying take it to the garage. And there's Michael Annett already in the garage. Couple of good race cars with some great runs going, but this is how quickly your fate can change in this sport. Rough night at Kentucky.
Yeah, Michael back in the garage here. He's climbed out. And, Michael, it looks like the strategy was working. You guys had done what you were going to do tire-wise, and you were positioning yourself for another top 10 finish here.
Yeah, definitely. Rudy, he made all the right calls, and we were sitting there with 4 fresh tires and ready to go, and it just kind of, it looked like one car made it 3 wide on a track that, you know, we struggle to go 2 wide around here, and, you know, just got the right size up in the marbles on the 2 cars ahead of me, and I had nowhere to go when I got up there. Just when you get up in the marbles like that, it feels like you're on ice, and you really can't control the front tires.
13th in points. I see him working back here. They get any shot at all to get you back out?
We thought we did. You know, they rushed over to the garage to look at it, and you know they're not going to quit, but we can't get back out there. So we're going to Road America and make up the points we lost tonight.
Well, the final rundown may not show, but Michael Annett had one heck of a run going here at Kentucky Speedway tonight. Dave?
And guys, right now, Ernie Cope talking to his driver, Mike Bliss, trying to give him some final instructions before we get going here. Looking pretty good right now. What does he need to do to win this race?
Realistically, our best chance is probably rain, but he's good on the starts. We kind of missed it. We're trying a little something different here, and our car's bouncing too much. He said at the beginning of the race that was probably fine. It wasn't that bad, but as the track's getting faster, you know, we're running about 6-7 tenths quicker than we did at the beginning of the race, and the car's bouncing really bad. And he says he can't hold it on the bottom as well as he could earlier in the race, but he moves up, and you know, he says it's a lot better when he moves up. So we'll see what happens.
Looks like he's got a fighting chance, though.
Yeah, he does. When he moves up, he says it rolls the center real good. If he just he says when he backs the corner up, you know, it doesn't bounce as bad, and he can keep it down. But we missed kind of on our timing on our front springs there, and it's kind of bouncing a little bit. So he's struggling with that.
He's struggling, but it's been pretty good for a car that earlier he described felt like it was on marshmallows. I guess that's where the bouncing comment relates, huh, Marty?
Well, and Mike Bliss won here back in 2002 in the Truck Series. How about the Nationwide Series? His last win back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, May 23rd of 2009. It's been 36 starts since. And he was in that #1 car at the time. And we had weather, and it got soaking wet and didn't bother him at all to celebrate indoors.
He wouldn't mind it tonight either.
And it may happen again as the rain is approaching. Now, it is Bliss, Logano, Edwards, Wimmer, and gone. Let's catch up with Jamie Little. She's caught up with Jason Leffler.
Well, it's been a tough couple of weeks for Jason Leffler. You have been checked and released. That's the good news. You're okay. What happened from your perspective? You were ahead of what was actually going on.
Yeah, I mean, Doug, the spotter, called 3 wide, and when he called 3 wide, I was already hit and spun out. It's just unfortunate. It's getting near the end of the race, so everybody's going, and no one's going to lift. So it's part of racing. I haven't seen the replay. Well, I just seen it right there, and just 3 cars all in one spot. So it'd be easy to get mad there, but I did the same thing to my teammate on the first lap, so I can't really be too mad. And just part of racing at the end of these deals. You got to go.
Thanks, Jason. This team had a penalty for swapping tires with their teammate last weekend. They are going to appeal it, but Jason Leffler told us earlier today he does not expect his crew chief to be at the next 2 races.
All right, thanks for the update, Jamie. And an interesting comment that, we had his radio earlier in the race, and so he said, I can't get too mad. I did the same thing.
Yeah, well, at least he's kind of call it like he sees it. It just, like you said, it's just 3 cars racing hard, and it happens. And when you get down to the end of these races.
Guys, one of the guys I want to talk about right now, Scott Wimmer. Remember, he had a lucky dog on the 4th caution, stayed out when he was 18th, and that put him into the race lead. He's still hanging on to 4th, and with all these cautions, I think he's got enough fuel now to go.
They were rolling the dice and gambling that it would rain and they wouldn't make it to the finish. The race would, and they'd have enough fuel to make it that far. Now it looks like they might make it to the end with all the caution laps we've run.
I think the only thing he'd have to worry about with 37 laps to go and that car being almost out of gas at the end, Andy, will the car get too tight? We'll start sliding the front end and the handling go away, because that's what happens when these guys start running out
But it
of
was a
fuel.
gamble. He was already back there anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's update you. It will be Brad Coleman getting the lucky dog. Gives us 23 cars back on the lead lap. And let's talk to his teammates, crew chief of Joey Logano, Dave Burns.
Yep, that would be Kevin Kidd. And he was just racing the weather. Now he's racing Mike Bliss. But Bliss had such a strong restart on the outside. Where do you hope you get to restart?
Either side. We'll be fine. I think Joey, he probably just didn't have quite as good a restart as we've had for most of the night right there. But, right before the caution came out, we were in the process of getting Bliss black. We've had a pretty good car all night. It's definitely not over. We're racing the weather. We're racing our, competitors on the racetrack. But we've had a pretty good GameStop Toyota, and, I think we'll be okay.
Should be a good race. Marty?
Well, let's listen to the radio conversation and get a little more idea of how important it is to get up front.
Joey, more weather stuff here. You're going to laugh at me when I say this, but every opportunity you get to be in that lead, you need to get there. Could do a lot of stuff, but it's definitely coming. So I'm saying 30 minutes. Might be sooner than that, might be a touch later than that. Hard to say, but get after it is what I'm telling you.
Or if I forget the race, I can do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
The reference there, of course, to all the recent cautions. We've been hit with a flurry. And now it'll be a question as when we'll be going back to green, because you see the lights are still on. They're still making the cleanup. You see the trucks. Now let's catch up with Paul Menard. Doc, you've got him.
Yeah, his damaged car back in the garage area, and he was hoping to have another top 5 finish. He's climbed out over here talking to Matt Pusha. And Paul, looked like you were positioning yourself for back-to-back top 5s. What happened?
We just been really tight all night, extremely tight. We made a really big swing at the last stop, got a lot better, and just racing hard. Got caught in the middle, and I guess they didn't know. I don't think Jason knew that we're 3 wide, and Steven made a pretty not a very smart move there, but it is what it is. We're just racing hard, and not a whole lot of laps to go. There's rain coming, so we had to go.
All right, Paul Menard, 6-10 points. They wanted to fix it, but they just can't, so he is done for the evening.
All right, thanks, Doc. We're going to take a quick break before we go back to green flag racing here. And we'll be back to find out if we beat the rain and get the entire race in.